I thought I'd just give you a bit of a catch up and do some more reading in the garden, so I'd let you know where I am with all my books for what am I doing? Two I'm doing. Middle Grade May and Mental Healthathon. So I'm up to page 328. I've not got much left, as you can see, of that. So How to Make Friends with the Dark, Kathleen Glasgow. Not got too much left. Slow paced book. It's more of a characterisation and a good look at how grief affects people. Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Finished this. This is a really good, positive self-help book. Only £1. Well worth doing some of the exercises in there, so you've got a more positive outlook moving forward. Enjoyed that. That was good. Return to the Secret Garden, Holly Webb. Finished that now. Loved it. It's a really lovely book. Gave it 4 stars. Yeah, suggest anybody get that if they've got a love of the original Secret Garden. Little Women, Louisa May Alcott. I've now completed this. This is finished. Lovely little feel-good book. Got plenty of morals and how to be young ladies of integrity in there. Not too much in the way of plot, but just a nice cosy read looking at life back in the day and you know how things were. So 4 stars for me. Finished that one. For my next middle grade book, I'm reading The Infinite Lives of Maisie Day. If you recall, that's from my TBR for middle grade May, and I'm only 29 pages in, so too early to say yet, but nice easy read. I should get that finished pretty quickly. And then finally, I have started this. I couldn't help but start it. Every Last Word. I've only just hauled this really in my fiction haul for Mental Healthathon, and this is featuring a character that's got OCD. It's a very good story. I'm really drawn in. I'm enjoying it. Mostly about teenage angst, not fitting in or trying to fit in with the cool kids and not really being true to yourself. I don't think there's too much rep in here for OCD. I think if you want something that's purely, so far anyway, something that's more representational of somebody with severe OCD, I'm not sure that this has enough in it. It's a very good book. I'm enjoying it, but it's as if it's all about everything else to do with Samantha and how it's like to be a teenager and peer group pressure, etc., than how her OCD affects life, I would say. But yeah, 177, so I'm about nearly halfway through, so you know that could change, but thoroughly enjoying it. And yeah, I'm going to carry on reading some of that today. So see you all later. Give you a catch up later on in the week. Hello, it's about 5 days since I last updated my reading vlog, so I thought I'd give you a bit of an update. We're back inside. It's a bit of a miserable day, although the sun's trying to get out. It's very foggy and a bit breezy out there, so not like how hot it was last week. So we're still on middle grade May and health. Mine's gone blank. Mental Healthathon. Right, okay, middle grade May, The Infinite Lives of Maisie Day. You will recall, this is Christopher Edge, that this was on my TBR, and I was looking forward to this because I read something about Albie Bright, and it was a 5-star, The Many Worlds of Albie Bright, and I really enjoyed it. Middle grade book, and the author mixes loads of scientific facts in a fun way, and there's usually a message in every book. Well, I gave this 2.5, unfortunately. This wasn't for me. Won't stop me reading others by him. I didn't like it. This was about a nuclear reactor, and I thought it'd be full of more interesting scientific information. I found it very dark. I didn't like where the plot went, and I think as a middle grade age I'd have found it a bit scary, so no, I didn't like this one, unfortunately. And my next read's going to be Trouble with Perfect. This is by Helena Duggan. So this is book 2 to the Perfect. I don't know what series it's going to be yet, whether it's going to be a duology, trilogy, or even more. I don't know. I'm waiting to start this. I've sent a copy of this to my lovely friend Amy Anders in the Netherlands. Because she loves middle grade, and we're going to do a buddy read of this. It's not arrived yet. Crikey, Royal Mail, get your act together. It's over 2 weeks now. It's been on its travels to the Netherlands. It doesn't take as long as that to get across to the States, so I don't know. I think last time I sent it to her it was nearly 3 weeks. Ridiculous. Anyway, you'll know more about that once we start reading it. I'm not going to start until Amy lets me know she's received it. Go and check out her channel if you've not come across Amy before. She does some very interesting wrap-ups of the books she's read. And I'm always in awe of people that can read, you know, in several languages. Mentalhealthathon. You'll recall, I'm sure I didn't say I'd finished this the last bit of vlog, but anyway, Kathleen Glasgow, woo! Yeah. How to Make Friends with the Dark. Now I finished this, I gave it 4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and this was really looking at teenage grief. We've got Tiger, whose mother passed away, and she's no other relatives in the world, or so she thinks, and gets put into the the fostering care system. I really enjoyed this. It's very character led. It's a good representation of grief. It makes you think about, you know, poor kids, teenagers who lose an only parent and have to go into foster care. You know, it's quite sad. Very, very slow, this book. It is slow, and if you really don't like slow paced books, I think it'll grate a little bit, because, you know, it does take some time looking at the grief and everything that's happening. So yeah, I've enjoyed that. That was very good. I'm going to read it more by her. 13 Reasons Why, J. Asher. Now this is one of my 5-star project reads, so if you recall, I'm reading all the 5-star books that Kaylee from Books and Lala read in 2017, and this was on that list. I gave it 4 stars. It was difficult for me to rate this because I was just totally blown away by the television series. I've just finished that, and wow, did that pack a punch. Was it impactful? Did it make me laugh and cry? Well, mainly cry, I think. I mean, I was really sobbing by the end. And although it's rated 18, I think every, you know, 16 and above should watch that programme and realise, you know, how their actions or inactions can affect others. It's very powerful. The book is difficult because I wanted to give it 5 stars, because if the book hadn't been so well written, if the plot wasn't there and the characters and everything, then the screenplay wouldn't have been as good as it was. But I didn't feel all the emotions from reading the book like I did from the television programme, and I enjoyed reading the two. And the book is impactful, but not as impactful as really it is. if that makes sense. The subjects and everything that's happened in here, and you know, there's some dreadful things happening here. You can feel connected to it, but goodness me, when you see it on the screen and you get to know the characters better, it had a more impactful effect on me. So I felt in the end that it was fair to give it 4 stars and not 5, but I give the television show 5 plus. Well worth a read. Now then, oh, love this, absolutely love this, every last word, by Tamara Island Stone. Now I chose this because it depicts a character with OCD, so I chose that as one of the challenges for the mental healthathon. Now this book was so much more than that, and I think if you were, for challenges, you were looking for a book to get all the feels and all the insight into a character or a teenager with OCD, I don't think you get it from this. Yes, it does show in a light-hearted way. I don't think, no, perhaps light-hearted isn't the right word. In a superficial, probably that's more apt. A superficial way, how her life's been affected, and the fact that everything has to be counted in 3s, and some of the obsessions that she has. But I actually think that this book is about, it's not dissimilar in some respects to 13 Reasons Why, because Sam, who's the main character in this, she's the girl that's got the OCD, but she's got a group of friends that fit in, that, you know, I know they're set in America and we don't have the sports culture, I suppose. It's not the culture that they have with the basketball players or the baseball players, American football, that sort of thing, where they have teams of young adults, mainly lads, that are idolised and think that they're little gods and they can do what they want and they get away with it because it brings a good name to the school. And she's got in with a group of girls that's very much like that. They are the in crowd. You know, I mean, I was never in with the in crowd. I hated sports, and you've got to be into the netball to be in with the in crowd at my school, and I hated netball. Sorry if any of you out there love netball, but I just couldn't do it. And really, she's not being herself. She's not allowed to be herself. She's trying to fit in with the cool girls and dress like them and make up like them and everything else. And she knows a lot of it isn't her true self. And then she meets a new group of friends, and she realises that really she's just hanging around with a bunch of bullies. And they're not nice to people, they're not nice people. And so it looks at real true friendships, it looks, there's a nice budding romance in here, it looks about looking out for each other. It does look at the stigma of mental ill health, of mental illness, about she's hanging around with these 5 supposedly best friends, or was there 8? Can't remember now. And she don't tell them that she's got OCD, and she's known them since primary school. You know, that shows how shallow this friendship is. So I highly recommend that. At the end, I just got tears rolling down my eyes. I highly recommend it. However, I don't think it has an in-depth, shall we say, in-depth representation of OCD. But nevertheless, 5-star read, loved it, really loved it. So what I did find was The Memory Collector by Fiona Harper. Now, this was just on my shelves, and I thought, you know, I just need a bit of a light relief, shall we say, from some of the books I've been reading. And how strange, you know, that this turns out to be a book about a girl that does suffer, well, her mother suffered from severe OCD and obsessional behaviour and hoarding, and she has got some traits of OCD, I feel, with how she behaves. And this really does, it's excellent. There's a good, there is a plot underlying here, because there's two girls, and it goes into how they were brought up by this obsessional mother with the OCD. They couldn't move in the house, you know, there were piles of junk and rubbish and stuff all over the house. They couldn't find clothes to go to school in, they couldn't find anywhere to sit and eat the tea, they couldn't cook properly because there were bags and bags of rubbish everywhere. It really does give you an insight into that. And the plot develops, they're now in adult life, the mother's passed away, and one of the daughters has inherited all, well, not all of it, because a lot was just taken away by the environmental health, but bags and bags of stuff have just been shoved into her spare room, and it's how she's dealing with that. Thoroughly enjoying this, thoroughly enjoying it. Not really heard anything about this, The Memory Keeper, Fiona Harper. Not seen it on BookTube, but I think it's worth a read. It's a good story, it's well written, it has good character representation in here, and I think this really does give you a detailed insight about how people live when their OCD and obsessions what's the word I'm thinking of, how it shows itself, how something shows itself in hoarding. I can't think of the word, you know, something manifests, that's the word I'm thinking of. This mental health condition manifests itself in becoming a hoarder and compulsively buying rubbish and keeping rubbish. So yeah, that's what I've been getting up to with reading, and I think there'll just be one final reading vlog for at the end of the month for everything else that I read from now on, for these two readathons. So let me know what you think to any of these, if you're reading them, or how you've enjoyed participating in these readathons, and I'll see you again next time.